Go live. There we go. Okay. Had a little glitch there. How's everybody doing? All right. I know I just saw most of you a couple hours ago. How are we doing, Dolphin fans? I see we got hot. I knew this was going to happen too. As soon as the Panthers traded for the goalie, I said, I said I was going to be live on the football channel. I don't want to go canceling that, but I know everybody's going to want to talk about the goalie. So here we are. Here we are talking hockey on the football channel in my Merino jersey. And that pretty much sums up flying. I mean, that sums up Flying Fluffy, right? I mean, that totally sums it up, right? How are we doing, everybody? Colin, Simon, Derek. Hey, Cuban. I did not know that, Cuban. I was not aware. So we could talk a little bit about it. I've got Tyreek Hill lined up over here. He was on. Did you guys know Johnny Manziel has a podcast? I didn't know that. He was on the Johnny Manziel podcast yesterday. Tyreek was talking about several things. So I've got him lined up. We'll watch him a little bit. Hey, JD. Hey, Kyle. No, that must have been him going into the room. Okay. I thought he was coming out. Hey, Derek. Yep. I've got in the other room, I've got Richard Dreyfuss as well. So I should probably, when I do the rearranging of everything, that's probably going to happen. I might move that part there with the Bass Pro Shops and that banner. I got to change everything because this is all stuff. Is there anything championship over here? Yeah, there's the two banners. Well, that's one of my old banners. That's the championship banner. But we're going to have a different camera next year. It's going to be a little bit further away because I'm not going to have this little webcam. I'm going to have the other high quality picture. So, yeah. Real quick, we'll touch on it. Obviously, when I first saw we got Tarasov, is that what we're saying it? Yeah, Tarasov. When I looked at his numbers, I'm like, well, is this going to be like a Drieger Kakinen replacement for the AHL guys? But sounds like he's going to be the backup. Sounds like he's going to be the guy. He's an RFA, so he needs a contract. So he's not going to come as cheap as Alex Lyon would have. So to me, what this says, this guarantees that if we sign Ekblad, Bennett, and Marchand, Rodriguez is gone, or Boquist at the very least, because you're not gonna give that kid's not gonna take a pay cut, in my opinion. So it is what it is. There, we'll just have to see how that all plays out. I don't want to make any predictions there because in the past we've gotten guys. And then we haven't known exactly what, we thought they were going to play at a certain position, and then it ends up changing and all of that. So we'll just venture our guesses at some point what's going to happen there. So, like I was saying, I'm going to get this ready to go. So, yeah, no, he's got potential. I like that we have him. Hopefully he can do what we need him to do. You guys know I was kind of hoping for a more experienced backup veteran type of guy to spell Bob. He hasn't played. I don't think he's even had more than 30 games in the season. I don't even know how many more games than 20 he's had. So looks like Bobrovsky. I mean, we ain't playing around. When we said that we were playing – that Bobrovsky was the future. Yeah, we ain't playing around. That's for sure. Bob's going to play a lot next year. If this kid's the backup, Bob's going to be playing a lot. So, all right. So I'm going to share the screen here. Let me get this set up. I've got Tyreek was talking to Johnny Manziel about a few subjects, and I thought it'd be interesting to go ahead and listen to some of the things that he had to say. He's talking a really good game about the future, and he talks really good about Tua and Ramsey, and I just wondering if you guys get the same type of situation, same type of feeling that I got here, in terms of, kind of been there, done that, hearing what these guys are saying again, over and over and over again, same thing year after year after year, then nothing changes. So let's go ahead. He's got it bookmarked here, so it's good. So the first question he asks him is probably going to play an ad on me. Yeah, about Jalen Ramsey.
To bring it back to the football stuff, last year, tough year for you guys a little bit, wrist injury, Tua injury. How you feeling going in the offseason and this upcoming season?
Bro, this is going to be our best year ever, man. Coach is doing a real good job of, getting guys, the OTAs, showing up to mandatory stuff. And our team is a whole lot closer. The thing about being in Miami is very hard to, get guys to actually come together and do things. But this is actually the year that, we can do something special, man. And I'm really hoping that we sign Jalen Ramsey back, dog, because he's a great leader on the defensive side of the ball. And just being able to do something special in Miami and win a playoff game after 25 years, I think that's something that he doesn't want to miss out on, man. So, Miami fans, man, can we give it up for that, man? Playoff win, dog. We got to get to that, man.
Yeah. So right off the bat, did you hear what he says? He says the thing with being in Miami is that it's hard to get guys together to do things together. Well, what the hell? I guess because the Panthers are in Sunrise, it makes that big of a difference. I mean, geez. I mean, you just the difference. Can you imagine a Panther player saying, man, it's hard to get the guys together? Like Chucky's always talking about, they're always playing cards and going and doing stuff. They all have dinner together and everything. And it's just lip service, unbelievably. And then in terms of Ramsey, I mean, that doesn't sound like, I mean, he's trying to sell Ramsey on staying by saying, man, you can't miss out on we finally win the playoff game. He's not even talking about, he does later, but in this clip, he's not even talking about Super Bowl. He's just talking about, hey, we got to finally win a playoff game, which I understand you got to take your baby steps, but just listening to that stuff versus what we go through with the Panthers is just like the Dolphins aren't even there. It's like kids. So what's the next thing? We don't need that. On his relationship with McDaniel, I definitely want to hear this.
A chance to be around Mike McDaniel my time in Cleveland. I know like how
he's weird, right?
Intricate he is.
He's odd.
He's an odd dude, but he knows his shit. When you're talking to scheming, when you're in putting guys in the right position as far as the game plan goes through the week. Speak a little bit about him and how much he's been able to free you up and put you in position to be able to really succeed.
He's one of those guys that at first, like I said, he was odd. You know what I'm saying? But I'm in year 4 with Mike now, and our relationship is great. He spends a lot of time inside of the office, you know what I'm saying, doing his thing, trying to get, us open, me, Waddle, A-Chain, just coming up with different concepts and stuff like that. I will say he's probably one of the best offensive coordinators I've been around, like one of the best minds I've been around. And the way he utilizes me, you know what I'm saying, in motions and jet sweeps and just whatever it takes to get me open. Like those 2 years I had 1,700 yards in a row, it was just, you know what I'm saying, him and his creativity. Yeah,
1,700 is crazy.
It's crazy, bro. Like now that I think about it, it's crazy, bro. But Mike is a genius, though. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a nerd for a reason. He's a nerd for football.
Football nerd for sure.
Football nerd for sure.
So that I don't necessarily tell says this talk from Tyreek reminds me of Cam Cameron selecting Ted Ginn Jr. We need our thumbs to go this way. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth, right? Now, I don't necessarily have a problem with what he's saying about McDaniel or nothing like that, but the rah-rah stuff, it just seems a little bit fake. You know what I mean? As far as the Hill is right, we need to win a playoff game first. And I mean, that's true. Yeah, this is like the Panthers early 2010s. Yeah, exactly. It's like they're trying to sell us. They're trying to sell us something. All right, here he is apparently on the evolution of Tua.
You know, obviously a lot of talk around Tua. Me personally, as I sit here being a former quarterback, I think he's the guy for you guys to make it happen. Like, I see a guy who's only continuing to get better, hopefully able to stay healthy. But, you know, speak a little bit about him and how it is playing with him, because in my eyes, you know, he's a top 10 quarterback in the league all day, every day.
Of course, bro. Like, his QBR is like number one, but I feel like Tua has gotten better every year as a leader. Ever since Mike came in, Tua has taken hold of, you know what I'm saying, being that franchise quarterback for this team. And I feel like this year he's taking it to another level. You know what I'm saying? The first year was, you know, getting acclimated, getting comfortable with who we were as a team. The second year was finding our identity, and we was like the number one offense. But this year I feel like Tua has really, you know what I'm saying, grabbed on to being our franchise guy. And he stepped up in ways that we all need him to step up in. You know what I'm saying? He's holding guys accountable. He's making sure guys are, you know what I'm saying, at the right spot, you know what I'm saying, for him. And he's fucking cussing out the old linemen whenever they're not protecting them. So I feel like I'm seeing a different version of Tua. And like, I remember when I was in Kansas City, this is like, bro, I used to see the same thing from Pat. It was a beautiful thing, man. So I'm just grateful to be a part of it.
For sure. Hey,
so that ain't so bad. Now, but by the way, man, Manziel ain't looking so good. Not that he ever did, but he looks like he's had a rough life. You know what I mean? Tell says Hill is talking positive and similar to his agent. Right. I mean, I got nothing wrong with him being positive and all of that. Do I believe Tua's gotten better every year? I don't know, man. I mean, he had a couple opportunities last year to show that he had kind of stepped up to the point where we knew we could count on him in a big game, and I've just not seen it. And I'm not trying to be a Tua basher, you guys. You know, I would like him to work out, obviously. You know what I mean? But he can't stay on the field. We know that part. And it's just the big game thing, man. It's just like every single time we got a big game, even if it's at home, it's like he kind of laying eggs out there. I forgive him for I think it was the Green Bay game a couple of years ago, whatever one it was, where it was like he was obviously still hurt and he threw a bunch of interceptions. Derek says drugs. Patel says drugs and alcohol for Manziel. Yeah, he had all the money from his parents, living that celebrity lifestyle. Yeah, I feel bad for the dude, but he looked rough. I mean, like, he looks like slumped over and shriveled up. I couldn't believe that was him. What's that? We're not going to talk about the next contract. Let me see here. I'm curious what he thinks this is the current state of the NFL wide receiver position.
You know, as you look around the NFL right now, you got to be, as being a receiver, you got to be proud of what the current state of the wide receiver kind of position looks like all the way around the league.
Oh, man,
the league is in good hands when it comes to wide receiver position.
Yeah.
Who are you looking at around the league? Like some guys that are like, damn, that guy is just playing at a different level.
Obviously, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, A.J. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brian Thomas, those guys, man. So the league is in good hands right now, man, with all these great young talents, dog. But you can't forget about the old guys too. Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, myself. Like, bro, we
still keep the old heads with some respect.
We still like staying in there, man. Like, so, but the young guys are doing their thing, though. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting that he brings up Keenan Allen because I guess ESPN put out an article where they had what each team could do to improve. And for Miami, they said sign Keenan Allen because they didn't believe that our slot receiver, Malik, he didn't believe Malik Washington was going to be a viable option for Tua, which, I mean, Allen does. I mean, he does bring you some stability there, but I prefer us to just sign Jonnu and make him sort of the third option. You know, Tua rarely gets to that third option anyway. You know what I mean? So I don't know about that. I'd like to see Malik just stay and because the dude's got speed. Craig, yeah, no Waddle mention. Yeah, good catch, Craig. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, I was waiting for him to mention Puka, and nah, you're right. You're right. He did not mention Waddle at all. Good catch. Hey, Troop. All right, let's see what else he's got here. I don't care about his top 2 moments. I know there was at least one more thing I wanted to play. Jalen Ramsey, the best trash talker in the league. This I gotta hear. I didn't know this part.
Lockdown corner.
You know, you're talking a little bit about, you know, how you up your game whenever people are trash talking you a little bit. What do you feel like is your best trash talking story going into a game where, you know, you kind of went and showed out based off that trash talk?
Hold on. What do you mean now?
You know, we talked a little bit about you thrive off that trash talk. You thrive off people coming at you before the game.
Okay.
You got any good stories of somebody coming up to you pregame or anything, trash talking you a little bit, and you went out and backed it up?
I ain't gonna lie, boy. That bit Jalen Ramsey, boy, before he was on my team, boy, that bit that talk so crazy. That bit gonna talk about your girl, your mama. Fellas, we know whenever a bit talk about your mama, you just lose all train of thought. It's like, bump this game. We finna fight after this, bro. So Ramsey, man, like he probably got the best of me in trash talk, bro.
Do you hear it as much in practice now whenever you're on the same team?
Nah, we cool now, bro, because we trying to win. But before, when he was in Jacksonville, crazy.
That's funny. Yeah, I know, true, but we'll talk about that I made a post on the hockey channel. Let me see. I don't care about the Chiefs. There was one more. Oh yeah, here we go. The Dolphins are winning the AFC. This part I've already heard. You guys will love this.
Oh man,
it's probably easy to look at that like Super Bowl loss and be like, maybe that's the end of the dynasty for the Chiefs. I don't think so. I think they're going to probably be back in that position quite a lot as long as they have Mahomes.
Man, you sleep, bro. The Dolphins gonna take that, bro. You just talking.
You heard it here first. Taking the AFC?
Taking the AFC. Miami Dolphins taking the AFC, bro. Don't doubt it, bro. Like, bro, we just seen OKC and the Pacers in the finals. Anything can happen, right? I'm just saying.
Got to mix it up a little bit. Get some fresh meat in there for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
How do you envision that, you know, that AFC championship going if it ends up being maybe a Chiefs, Dolphins, AFC?
Ooh.
I think that's something we would all like to see.
Well, we all know Tua is the best quarterback in the NFL. We all know that, right? So it'll be a great thing, dog. Playing against former team, playing against Andy, Pat, and the guys, Kelsey. It'll be great, man. I don't know. It'll be a very emotional game for me, dog.
You know, we know you're a huge
in a Dolphins jersey.
All right, there we go. Yeah, that was it. I wanted y'all to hear that. Did y'all know that Tua was the best quarterback? Patel says Tyreek's on drug confirmed. Yeah. What can you do? But yeah, I know. He's sitting there in his sandals, right? Shafasi, yeah, we ain't winning more than 7 games. Exactly. Yeah, the damn sandals, man. Unbelievable. So, right, Derek says, drugs, sure, it ain't TTE. A little bit of both. Right? We're gonna be in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, which that seems accurate, right? So the only way that happens is if if Baltimore and Buffalo play each other somewhere overseas this year and they don't allow them back into the country and they just have to continue on with the season. I think if that happened, Miami could possibly sneak into the AFC Championship game. But first you have to find a way to completely eliminate Buffalo and Baltimore. So that's just the way it'll have to be. Yeah, and Wilson as the backup, right? Yeah, hey, look, I'm not going to talk trash about Zach Wilson. What's interesting about it is when we got Wilson, I value Kyle's opinion because sometimes he does see things, in a different way. And when we got Wilson, Kyle was like, yeah, he likes him. Kyle actually liked that we got Zach Wilson. He said he thinks Zach Wilson can actually play well, especially considering how the other Jets quarterbacks have gone on and played. All right, Drew. We'll see you, Nick. Derek says, I'd say Zach Wilson playing in a pro passing school like BYU, going to go to a Mike McDaniel system could be a fit. Yeah, I don't necessarily. Look, I mean, better than we have. I mean, certainly is going to be better than Skyler. Certainly is going to be better than Mike White, right? Now, those two guys, especially Skyler, I mean, he didn't even look prepared last year when he had to play. I mean, he didn't even look prepared to be an NFL quarterback. It really didn't make any sense. Derek says it's not Zach's fault. He started immediately with the Jets and had no backup veteran. And then you had the whole thing with Rodgers. It's just like they get Rodgers, and they've got all this hope, and the whole city's thinking Jets are going to do well. And then all of a sudden, I mean, they got Rodgers specifically to not have to worry about Zach Wilson, and then they had to put him in. And that had to be hard on him, man. And that had to be tough on him, just on a personal level, because he immediately, no matter what happened in that season, he immediately became who's to blame. You know what I mean? Like, it was immediately his fault. If the Jets didn't make the playoffs and things didn't go well, like, they weren't going to look at anything else. It was all just going to get blamed on Wilson because Rodgers got hurt. So Tell says, I was disappointed in White. He was good for the Jets and just fell apart. Right. Well, they both kind of fell apart. Like, I don't know who's coaching the quarterbacks. I'm not going to even get into the Tua thing. But the difference, hey, Mr. Vids, the difference in how the Panthers take people in and develop them and they get better. The Dolphins have a tendency to take people in and they look even worse than they did. You know what I mean? Now, Ramsey's pretty much looked like himself. I'm trying to think of when the last time Hill pretty much stayed the same. Jonnu Smith is like the first guy I can think of who played for another team and came to us and then looked better. I'm trying to search my memory for the Dolphins of like guys that they brought in that maybe had a bumpy road somewhere else, and then the Dolphins actually developed them into a really good player. Mr. Vidge, just hoping for the Pats to get a winning record again. They could do it. It depends on how Miami and the Jets do. Patriots annually usually give the teams in the division a tough time. So if they can find a way to beat Miami and the Jets both times, they might be able to win 8 or 9 games. It won't be long, in my opinion, before they're the second best team in the division, especially if Miami tanks and we have to go with a whole damn rebuild. That would really finish things off if Miami had to go completely and we just did a rebuild, so nobody wants that to happen. But Foss, the Pats might finish ahead of us this year. Yeah, absolutely. Hey, thank you, Andrew. Thank you, bud. Thank you, Andrew. This is what I'm looking forward to this day. You can say anything. You as Chop Robinson. That would be, especially on defense, that would definitely be my top pick there in terms of who I'm looking forward to seeing take the next step. I do want to see, like we said yesterday, how Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb look, right? I would like to see that. But if those two can come in, and especially Chubb, if they can return to form, then Chop will have a lot of opportunities. He really showed up the second half of the season, so I'm really curious to see that. On the offensive side of the ball, I like to see how Malik Washington does with more touches. This dude has got speed, no doubt. And, teams are going to be focusing on Hill and Waddle. And that's partially why Jonnu Smith had such a good year last year. So if we could devise some plays, and I'm sure McDaniel can do it, it's kind of, get them covering on Hill and Waddle and then get that ball to Malik over the middle like we used to. What was the guy's name? Grant? Was that the little dude that we used to have? Jakeem Grant. Wasn't that his name? Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I might have that name a little bit mixed up. Yeah, Jakeem Grant. Yeah, thank you, Andrew. All right, so my brain is still working. The brain is still working. Yeah, if we can use Malik like that and he can stay healthy, he could contribute for sure. Malik Washington reminds you of Steve Smith, right? Yeah, he could have a good year. It just depends on how we use him. Patel says the best name on the Dolphins, Storm Duck. I don't know how you end up with that name. Like, first of all, I've never heard of Duck as a real last name. I mean, I guess when your last name is Duck, no matter what you get named, like, did they really name him Storm? Or is that a nickname? Cater Kohu's not bad either. I like Cater, but Storm Duck takes the cake for sure. Derek says Green Bay go 8 or 9, 9 and 7. The run and the 7th seed will run out. Ooh, that's an interesting pick. Huh. Packers fan, poor Tom Grossi would not be happy about that for sure. Rosado, the video reactions, 21 trade deadline, 22 trade deadline. Paul Maurice bringing in. Yeah, those are good ideas. Yeah, if I could find some stuff on that, yeah. Miss Viz said, I got to see them win 3 times as a fan, so if they never win the Super Bowl again, you'll be happy. Yeah, when you see your team winning that many. Although with the Panthers, that's how many straight. That's what I want. Do that. Just don't tell anybody I said that. Yeah, exactly, mister. Smoke Monday. There's a dude named Smoke Monday. I hadn't heard that one yet. Damn. That's crazy. But Storm Duck's a good name. And the whole damn Ramsey thing is just dragging on. And we're going to do the same thing we did last year, which is, I forget who it was that we cleared out last year, but then we didn't use the cap space anyway. Like, we keep trying to clear out cap space, but we're clearing it out so late. There's nobody to use it on. Greer is just he's an absolute loss at GM. He's just an absolute loss at GM. It's just a shame we have to go through this. Mr. says, remember, I was the first one to say they'll win 4 in a row. If you were, you were, right? Real says, clearly the solution with Ramsey is give him another huge extension, right? And yet, the trade rumor stuff can't possibly be good for morale. That's exactly it. Mr. Viz says, is slow mode on for the chat? Let me see. Thank you for bringing that up. It shouldn't be, but let me go to the channel and see if there's something going on there. It definitely should not be. But let's see. No, it is definitely not on. So slow mode is definitely not on. So we're good there. What's the error it's giving you? Yeah, I've seen where you can turn that on, but yeah, YouTube's been funky. They're always a little bit funky depending on what browser you use. So, I mean, Tyreek talking big, that's fine. And now he's back to the Tua's the best quarterback in the league. And it's like it seems fake. This whole culture change thing, you hear Tyreek talking about this. Like, to me, it almost kind of seems like they're watching what the Panthers are doing and trying to talk themselves into, that they can somehow be the same and have a certain culture. They've got to look bad, right? Like you see the Panthers just all over the place talking about how great of a team and it's a family atmosphere, and the other part of that is the tax thing. It's like, well, if the tax thing is such a big deal, how come the Dolphins don't get all the big free agents to come here and stay here for cheap? How come, we lose guys all over the place? We lose Wilkins and we lost Andrew Van Ginkel and the list just goes on and they go get paid elsewhere. How come if it's a tax-free state, why are the guys not staying with us just because of that? Cap says the only culture we have is paying guys to go elsewhere after 4 years. Thank you. And that's the other thing is like when we draft a guy, like Chop Robinson is a prime example, right? He's a prime example. It's like we drafted him. That's great. He plays well. That's great. If he continues to get better, that's great. But there's zero confidence in Greer to actually get him to sign, to be able to structure the salary cap in such a way that we can afford the guys whenever we do draft a guy that's good. I mean, we just lost between Wilkins, Van Ginkel. I know there was one other guy that we lost that we had drafted and developed. And I don't think I'm talking about X. And there's somebody else that I remember that we just because we're too busy paying, like you said, giving massive extensions to these guys and not taking care of our own players. Nick Needham, that's another guy. Yeah, Robert Hunt. Yeah, real Robert Hunt. Exactly. I mean, if you look, let's look at this. I don't want that. Hold on a second. Let's just close that out. Come back here. Look at the draft history. Let's see. All right, so come on, stop this. So many ads on these sites. So you go back, Holland, that's right. So you go back to when, I mean, geez, how far back do we want to go? Let's go back 18. Let's just go back to 18. Fitzpatrick, gone. Gazecki, gone. Baker, gone. Smythe, gone. Ballage, gone. Jason Sanders. That's what we got. 19, Wilkins, gone. Van Ginkel, gone. Gaskin played for a little bit. 20 was the only one where we kept a couple of guys. Tua's still here. Jackson's still here. Iggy is gone. Hunt, gone. Raycon Davis, gone. Brandon Jones. God, we had a lot of guys from that draft that played that just left. Curtis Weegar, Blake Ferguson, Malcolm Perry. 21, we drafted Waddle and Phillips. They're still here. Holland. Eichenberg, unfortunately, is still here. Hunter Long. Dokes. And 22, we only had 4 freaking picks. Channing Tindall, Izukoma, Cameron Good, and Skylar Thompson. Now, Skylar's gone. Those other 3 guys are still here. but we don't know what Good's going to be able to do because that was a hell of an injury he had last year at the end there. Then 23, Cam Smith. We don't know what he's going to be. H-An, Good. And then so when you get to 24, Robinson, are we going to be able to pay him when it comes time? Patrick Paul still yet to be determined. Jalen Wright, happy about. Kamara, Malik Washington. We'll see how he turns out. Taj Washington still in the mix. So there's so many guys that we've just spent so much draft capital on that are just gone, especially because we just couldn't afford to pay them. It sucks. Yeah, the games overseas is a pain in the ass. I like Nick Needham, but then he got hurt, and he just wasn't the same. Mr. Vid says the South Beach Saga, Dolphins of Our Lives, Seasons of Our Fins. Which one would be a better name for the show in Miami? Dolphins of Our Lives. I think Dolphins of Our Lives is pretty good. Fins of Our Lives. I think just Fins of Our Lives because days is a one-syllable word. I like Fins of Our Lives. Yeah, Brandon Jones, right? Yeah, the Tarasoff thing. We'll see how that works out. We'll see how it works out. I was hoping for a more established veteran guy. Bobby's going to be playing 50 games next year. We'll just put it that way. Real says Cam Smith is a bust. Fangio didn't want to use him. Smith boasted before last year about how he'd be unleashed after Fangio left, and then he didn't do anything. I think he sat most of the games, right? You know, like he didn't even get on the field. Donna says, as a Giants fan, I'm excited about Holland. Don't think he's as good as McKinney, but he's at a cheap price from what he was worth on the market. You just don't know. The Dolphins are the opposite of a Buffalo or a Calgary or one of the hockey teams where they're not really that great. Guys play there. They don't really want to stay. They move on, and they do well elsewhere because of the better culture, better attitude, etc. The Dolphins are that kind of franchise now that the good players go, and they probably do better elsewhere. Now, I know Wilkins got hurt. The one that really pissed me off was Van Ginkel, $10 million. It wasn't like he got overly paid. $10 million freaking dollars. And he was just a beast for us. And yeah, we drafted Chop. That's fine. And they're like, well, that's a Van Ginkel replacement. And it's like, yeah, but the goal is not to just let your good players go and replace them. The goal is to keep some of them around so that you're eventually good. You know? So Pacharo, I think, is Asante Samuel still out there? Because I think that was the guy that we were looking at if not his dad, Junior. So hold on a second. What the hell is that? Oh, okay. It's Kyle on the porch. The porch is right outside the window. I think Asante Samuel Jr. is one of the possible ones if we move on from if we trade Ramsey. Let's look at the free agent NFL cornerbacks. Let's look at that list right now. Sport Track is usually pretty good. Hold on, let me close this out. I mean, money shouldn't be a huge thing here. Are these the guys that are free agents now? Or is this movement that's already happened? I think this is movement that's already happened. The signings. So who has not been signed yet? I mean, to me, if Samuel Jr. can come back from his injury and play well, that would be the guy that I'd be interested in. This is not, hold on a second. UFA, here we go. This is weird. It's not showing up like the hockey one. This is showing up, giving me the guys that have already been signed for this year. Because it's showing me they moved from one team to one team. So I'm not getting, there's not much out there, right? Now you might be able to trade for a guy. But there's not a whole lot out there. Samuel's injured with the neck surgery until July, right? Well, yeah. I can select available player. I'm looking for that. Let me get back to it. Free agent type. It's saying all types, UFA, RFA, player option, club option. It's not. Let's see. I'm trying. Oh, here we go. Signed, available. Thanks. I see. It wasn't obvious to me. Thank you. I mean, Kendall Fuller is still out there if we got desperate. The assumption being that you're going to lose out on Ramsey. If you move Ramsey, Eli Apple. You guys want Eli Apple back? Remember him? Just to go down the list of names, Bradbury, Fuller, Gilmore. He's 35 years old. Rasul Douglas, Mike Hilton, C.J. Henderson, Shaquille Griffin, Michael Davis, Emmanuel Mosley, Arthur Millay, Asante Samuel Jr., Antonio Hamilton, Cameron Sutton, Fabian Moreau, Eli Apple, Jalen Mills, Troy Hill, Darryl Worley, Elijah Riley, Trayvon Mullen, Jack Jones, Kadar Holman. So we could have a Kadar and a Cater. If you wanted to go that route, we could have a Kadar and a Cater, or is he just Cater too? Is that Cater Holman or Kadar Holman? We could have a couple Caters. It's not pretty. I mean, anybody that you're going to get out there is going to be, like Stephon Gilmore, Rasul Douglas, Kendall Fuller. You're talking about meh at the best, right? Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, Gilmore is old but good, right? I mean, he's old but good, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Eli Apple's out there. Just, it's not – it's just not – and, that's what happens, right? This is the same thing. We did the same thing kind of last year where we cleared up the cap space after free agency. And we went through the June 1st process, and then we just ended up going through the season with a bunch of space. At least we started. Greer's just awful. He's just awful. So, yeah, Samuel's the best option if he's healthy. I think Samuel, what's he, 26? You just got to wonder what his he's going to be 26. He's like 25 and a half. Everybody else is 30 or above. If you want to get somebody under 30, C.J. Henderson, Shaquille Griffin is going to be 30. Emmanuel Mosley, Samuel, Eli Apple's going to be 30 in a couple months. Trayvon Mullins, 27. Elijah Riley's 27. Trayvon Mullen, he played for Baltimore. He was on a cheap contract before. I mean, anybody that came from the Baltimore system, if he got drafted there, might have a little bit of potential. But in terms of, you're going to have to go after, like, if you lose Ramsey, you're going to have to go get, you're going to have to go get Kendall Fuller back, or Rasul Douglas or Mosley, somebody that has at least played in the league, because you can't go back there with Cater and Storm. You don't have. I mean, it's weak as it is, even with Ramsey. Andrew says Samuel had a neck problem, but he's be good on the Dolphins between broken down and broke. Yeah. An apple a day will keep the playoffs away. Right. Real says, and if we don't fire him, talking about Greer, even if we get a new GM, it'll be someone from inside the organization, and Greer will take an advisor. Oh, God. I wish that was not true, but it is true. It is true, unfortunately. What's true, Colin? What do we see here? Hold on a second. Someone spotted Ekblad renewing his Florida driver's license. Now that's reporting. That's interesting. When's his birthday? When would he need to do it by? Hold on a second, because this is important now. Right? When's his birthday? February. Now, this is actually his birthday's in February. If he wasn't going to be here, why would he be renewing his driver's license when he wouldn't have to do it until February? It's actually good reporting, though. If he wasn't going to be here, you see what I'm saying? He don't have to do it. There's no reason for him to go do it right now. Wait, why would he even do it now? The driver's licenses go by the birthday, right? Like mine expires on my birthday in 2030. They go by your birth. Why would he do it now anyway? That's really the odd question. Or maybe he wants to have 2 licenses and he wants to do it before he leaves the state of Florida, or maybe he's going to stay with the Lightning. Maybe the Lightning are going to pay him. Who knows? That's wild. The DMV worker got a picture with him. Damn it. Did the DMV worker tell him to unblock me on Twitter? Right? It's all right. It's all good. It's all good, Aaron. I know you're watching the show. Yeah, Eki goes heel turn and signs with Tampa. Just saying. It can happen. Well, we'll have to see how all that goes. Kyle and I will be live over there. The first is Tuesday. So now I won't have a football stream here tomorrow because I have an appointment. So I'll come back on Monday, and then I don't know that we probably won't have a stream for football for a few days next week, obviously, because I know we'll be live all day, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. We're going to be live as long as we can between Kyle and I for the free agency and all of that. So we'll just have to see how that goes. Looks like Erod is gone, or is that official? Did something happen? Oh, Elwood. Unfortunately, it's just water. Yeah. I can't drink. I cannot drink. I've never been much of a drinker, but now I have health things where I definitely can't drink. We'll put it that way. Not yet. Yeah, but with Tarasov being signed, I mean, we don't have to do it. But if you sign Bennett, Marchand, and Ekblad, Rodriguez is gone. It was unless you were going to get Marchand to take $2 million for 8 years. Unless we were going to do that, Rodriguez was always going to be gone. So, Adonis, you think he has the same? Yeah, Colin, just send it to me. Yeah. Real says your Alex Lyon dream is gone. I thought that was the perfect thing. But I guess Gino feels like he wants to develop somebody behind Bobrovsky. I get it. I do get it. I went to Twitter for 5 minutes. I said my opinion. somebody started being a real dickhead to me. So I left, and I remembered why I don't go to Twitter. Twitter is good to read what's going on, but as soon as you have to interact with the people there, my God, it's like you're just not allowed to have an opinion. Like you could just have an opinion, and like you're just not allowed to have an opinion. It's wild. Andrew, Keenan Allen, yeah. I kind of like to give Malik Washington and keep him in that spot. I wouldn't mind Allen as a fourth guy, but I don't want somebody taking Malik Washington off the field with his speed, you know. Mr. Bid says, I'm happy I got rid of Twitter back in December. So many bots and rage bait on there. Yeah, it's just not anything like it used to be. And it's not, you're not dealing with the same group of people that you used to be able to have fun with. And I mean, I had a few of my people, interact with me, but then there's people that, it's like, I'm not there to argue with people. It's like, that's my opinion. Like, if you're going to be a dickhead about it, it's just like, I just blocked him. And he wasn't even all that terrible. It's just like, it's not, I'm not putting my opinion out there for somebody to be a dick about it. I'm just tweeting, man. You know what I mean? But it's not like it used to be. The quality of people that is on there has seriously deteriorated. It's almost like Reddit light, to be honest with you. Elwood said, you thought I drank Panthers pure, not Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah. No, it's just water. It's just good old-fashioned water is what it is. No big deal. All right, everybody. I'm going to roll. That's going to do it for today. I got some work I got to tend to. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Much, much, much appreciated. Now, I'll be live tomorrow for the Hockey Channel, as I normally am, at noon. If the Panthers do anything, I'll go live again tonight. I'm not going to go live for the goalie, but if they announce all 3 contracts, I'll do something that way too. Otherwise, no, we're not going to do a draft stream. We're going to save our energy for free agency. We know what we're talking about there, but with the draft stuff, we don't even pick into the 4th round. So not a whole lot of interest there for us as Panther fans. And I don't really know the draft guys. That's just not my forte. So, all right, everybody. Appreciate all the support. I shall see you tomorrow, noon on the Hockey Channel, and then Monday here at 4 o'clock, where we'll talk about how Tyreek recanted his statement about Tua being the best quarterback in the league.